like they were looking at anyone
Yeah.
to come in and be a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, we'll cover just a couple of the Ghostbuster 3 attempts. I also do want to cover 2 of the.
Do you have the video game at all in there?
I mean, I have Hellbent, which kind of became the video game.
Yes.
Although admittedly, I never did finish the video game.
I never got around to playing that.
So the video game is actually incredibly important to this, because without it, that was the kicking off point for Sony to be like, shit, we have a franchise here. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Up until 2009, they were happy to sit on the IP. When it sold over 3 million copies at $60 a pop, Sony was like, ooh.
Yeah. Hold that for on air.
Yeah.
Sorry, I kicked the stream live just so you can start to get things rolling. Jack, does Matt's microphone sound different to you? Yeah, I think your mic sounds fuzzier to me.
Well, let me try something. Okay, how about now?
It's about the same.
Yeah.
When you logged into the... Oh, that's worse.
Now I'm hearing echo.
Right.
How about now?
That sounded better, I think.
Say something?
Am I back where I was?
Oh, there. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're back. Okay, that's perfect.
All right, so I think it was using the headset microphone for a minute, so I had to futz around with that.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm starting to record on our side.
One moment here.
Do we need to
and recording here?
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do another clap. All right, so 3, 2, 1, clap. Cool. All right. I can work with it.
Okay.
All right, then Jack, whenever you're ready to jump in.
We have so much to cover. We're just gonna jump straight in. Welcome to DeRazzled, the podcast that takes award-winning worst films and fixes them. I'm host Jack Culbertson, and here to suffer alongside me, as always, is also host Joe Nealis.
Good evening again.
We are back for part 2 of Ghostbusters: Answer the Call, a title that Paul Feig hated and only allowed in the movie if it happened once the movie was done. We are joined by Toaster, Matt, period.
Hello. Yes.
We have so much to talk about, partially because not only Ghostbusters 3 was in development for so long, but Ghostbusters 2 also had a number of scripts before they landed on what we got. So before we do that, Joe's going to remind you to remember.
Remember, you should always, when you like a podcast, rate and review it everywhere you possibly can so that more people can find it more easily. It helps with algorithms and such for discoverability, which is what kills most podcasts. I'm not sure what would kill us at this point. We just kind of keep on going and growing and evolving. And
Honey Badger.
Keep going. Honey Badger would be rough. Honey Badger would be rough. Honey Badger also doesn't have the opposable digits to be able to type out a review on Apple Podcasts or Good Pods or Podchaser or to rate 5 stars on Spotify.
So I threw you garbage and you just roll with it.
I roll in garbage sometimes.
Like a true Honey Badger.
Like a true Honey Badger. Do you remember the episode we did for Tommy Wiseau's The Room?
Oh, do I?
Where you and I kind of like sat back and let Vince and Emily just talk at us. It was great. I kind of feel like that's what this episode's going to be. Where I'm like, oh, I did this like very quick research on Ghostbusters 2, The Seed. And then Toast me like, well, actually, and then slam a a file folder down.
It's always beautiful whenever you have a subject matter expert available to just vomit information at you, and it's I'm thrilled that we have that opportunity here today.
I'm a little intimidated because I did research.
So here's what I have next to me.
What are we looking at there?
So we have the Ghostbusters Ectomobile. It covers Ecto 1, Mark II, 1A, and the one in 2016. We have the visual history of. I have a signed copy of the Ghostbusters Ninja Turtles crossover comic. I have several signed Ghostbusters comics. Behind me, you can see, I'd love to say it's screen accurate, and I hate to mention another podcast.
Go ahead.
But okay, so you know how we're like, "Ooh, we're the world's biggest Ghostbusters fans."
Mhm.
I thought I was until I discovered that, and then I found out I don't know shit. There's a podcast. It's like a 22 episode series called The Black Firehouse, where when the 4K
Good title,
when the 4K came out, they went through, and they're like, okay, if you pause this here and blow it up, you can see we did some research and found that this panel of the jumpsuit is actually made out of old parachute. Like that level of, hey, so when you're looking at the proton pack, you know that little windy part? That's actually from Raytheon Electronics out in this factory in California. You can track it down here for $50.
Fuck.
The level of adoration and care and love that goes into Ghostbusters fandom is insane and intimidates me, and that's why I don't do. And to their credit, they do a ton of charity all the time.
This is the Black Firehouse podcast.
Just know if you go to like all these Ghostbuster chapters across the country, I want to. Oh shoot, I'm not even going to name any because I know I'll get them wrong. But like every major city has, like Philly, Pittsburgh, y'all have Ghostbuster collectives.
I mean, there is a guy there. There's a guy that drives around in an actual like self-made Ecto 1 around town. I've seen him several times.
They like passed him on the road before.
Oh yeah, I passed him on my way driving home through from work the other day. It just made my afternoon.
Yeah. It's like Fight Clubs. They pop up everywhere. All across the United States. Let's go ahead. I actually have a question for you, Matt, because I was trying to find the answer to this and I couldn't. So when they were working on Ghostbusters 2, Bill Murray did not want to come back whatsoever. But they got him, obviously. He says that the script that they gave him is different than the one that they shot with. That the stuff
there's a bait and switch.
Yeah, there's a bait and switch. So he's like, the stuff that I liked about the script was gone when we went to go shoot it, but he was already on set and filming. Do you know what script he was looking at and what was in that script that they did the old switcheroo with? So
originally with Ghostbusters 2, it was Aykroyd wanted to get away from New York. There was a Cinefex article in like the late 80s where they kind of went into the idea that essentially Dana Barrett would be kidnapped and taken to Scotland. It dealt with a lot of underground civilizations and underground like mythology. You'd get there through a fairy ring, like those mushroom circles.
Oh shit.
Go through like Scottish lore forever. Essentially, that's how you would get to this like underworld. That's how they'd be going to try and get back to Faye. Right? Like
that's wild.
Fucking Aykroyd. Of course you would. Weird ass. I love you.
He like backpedaled. He's like, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Maybe I'm hitting the gas a little too hard here.
Now I did actually, give me a second. I did pull a quote from, this one was definitely Starlog. It was, let's see. So the Murray wanted to call it The Last of the Ghostbusters. And I quote, it's not going to be called Ghostbusters 2. We'll burn in hell if we call it Ghostbusters 2. Well, I've suggested The Last of the Ghostbusters to make sure there won't be anything like a Ghostbusters 3.
Oh, Bill.
God, he really didn't want to do this again.
Well, he loved the first one and he thought it didn't really need a sequel, and it honestly didn't.
Well, okay, he loved it when it was done. Getting there was also a challenge. They ended up Columbia had to agree
for the first one, right?
For the first one. They had to agree to do a movie called Razor's Edge, which was like a very philosophical movie based on a book written by some like dude who went to Tibet for a while that Bill Murray absolutely loved. I saw it 20 years ago. I don't remember anything about it. It didn't do well. Apparently it was a huge passion project for Murray, and it just didn't translate well to an audience. It didn't translate great on screen. And honestly, I know I watched, I don't remember anything. Some nice scenery, like there was some good cinematography, and that's really all I took.
But that's why he did Ghostbusters 1 was that they agreed to fund it.
Yep. 2, again, they lured him in with this script, and it wasn't just Murray. There were a couple other actors that had that like Fey-based script. They get there and they're like, the fuck are these pages? It's just a reskinned Ghostbusters 1. Like if you follow the plot of that, it's the same movie. They have to restart the business. They have one good ghost catching scene followed immediately by a Ghostbusters music montage. Oh, look, the city thinks they're crazy. Oh, no, they were right in the end. Here's a giant thing walking down the street. There you go.
Whee!
There's actually unpublished script pages that ended up in a Ghostbusters 2 comic book years later that you can find if you search online that have like a very, like all of a sudden, like the last scene was supposed to be incredibly fucking heavy, where like all the Ghostbusters are like, oh, it's a Statue of Liberty, you know, ancestors came through here, and Winston is just like, yours did.
Oh, God!
No. God, I wish Ernie Hudson would have been able to deliver that line.
Man.
Like I'm paraphrasing like to the nth degree, but like it was just like a really weird twist on the end, and that I don't know why it got cut. But you can see during the credit scene of Ghostbusters 2, they did shoot a lot of it. Like that was supposed to be in the scene where they're doing like to celebrate Ghostbusters in 1989, and then we'll never speak about him again until 1991, and then we'll never speak about him again until 2021.
Yeah.
You didn't also catch this too.
That's adorable. For those listening, Matt's wearing a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man kitty cat t-shirt.
From Army Animals, a not-for-profit.
Nice.
Yeah, they donate to a bunch of animal charities.
I love that.
I wish. So they filmed a subplot where Ray is possessed, and there's still a little bit of that in the movie.
You get that one moment where Vigo takes him over, but it's so fast.
But they filmed a scene where Ray is driving erratically, and part of it ends up in the montage, specifically with Venkman giving Ray kind of like a weird look over his shoulder, like, what the hell is he driving like an asshole? And that's because Ray's possessed and driving like an asshole. And I feel like his character and Winston kind of got trimmed for the second one. I don't feel like they got as much time. Do you know what happened, Matt? Why they take that from me? Just time, pacing, maybe?
That would be my guess. I mean, Venkman obviously was the breakout of the first one. It was Murray. That's what everyone wanted. It was everybody wanted more Murray. So I could only assume, and this is just me guessing, that it was a lot of studios saying, we got Venkman. We want more like the people want Venkman. We're going to give them Venkman.
Gotcha.
Which, I can see why they would want to do that. I am glad that at least in the midst of that, we got more Annie Potts and more Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
Oh, they were great playing off each other.
Oh, I loved it. That was, to this day, one of my favorite parts of Ghostbusters 2.
Anything else with Ghostbusters 2 that we want to talk about before we move on to Ghostbusters 3?
I think between that and Groundhog's Day, it put such a bad taste in Murray's mouth that's why he didn't want to come back.
Groundhog Day, that put a bad taste in his mouth?
I thought it was Caddyshack.
So during the filming of Groundhog's Day, that was a Harold Ramis Reitman production with Bill Murray starring.
Right.
That is where the falling out took place.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, Murray was either early, mid, or late stages of divorce. I think he had his son Homer on set a couple of times. Ramis was trying to work under the studio's budget and time constraints and dealing with weather and just, could you imagine the lead production on, hey, every single scene is the same day? So it was a lot. And Ramis, I think, was counting on Murray to not be the diva he could be. They called him One Take Bill. So, there was just a lot of animosity between the two. They actually did not speak until Harold Ramis's deathbed.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That I knew. I didn't know that the falling out took place over Groundhog Day, though. That's, man.
So they just not talk on Ghostbusters 2? Like on set?
It was Ghostbusters 2. That was 89, and then Groundhog's Day. That was after.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because Ramis and Murray had been friends forever.
Yeah, that sucks. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Did they call him One Take Bill because he could nail it in one, or he would only do one?
I think a little of both.
Yeah.
Now, a nice postscript, just after that sad thing, just to come to something a little bit nicer, because I mentioned it was Ramis's deathbed. He knew he was getting ready to pass. When Murray had found out, he immediately chartered a flight to Martha's Vineyard, did not know where Harold Ramis lived at the time, so he went to the police station and said, "Take me to Harold Ramis." He got a police escort. Yep. Gets a police escort to Harold Ramis's house, goes inside. He's welcomed by Harold's wife. Like pleasantries, because again, these were all close friends, all through the 80s, 70s, and 80s. So when the story go, and again, all of this is stories passed around and whatnot. Bill went in to sit with Harold, didn't leave for hours, and you could just hear them laughing through the door.
That's beautiful.
Yep.
I'm glad they at least had that.
Yep. They like, it was the last chance, and they buried the hatchet.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. That comes in later too.
Just that connection, or the burying of the hatchet?
Burying of the hatchet.
Gotcha. Do you know what the first idea for Ghostbusters 3 was? Was it Hellbent?
I believe that was the earliest script, where it was supposed to be essentially the Ghostbusters are stuck to a parallel dimension New York full of ghosts, goblins, etc. I think that was the earliest talk of bringing in a new team. Murray was very adamant about not coming back, so they're going to replace him with a young, handsome Ben Stiller.
Interesting.
That was supposed to be the Venkman replacement. There were versions of the script where when they got to this, what do they call it?
Manhattan.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
They were going to meet a ghost version of Murray there, because the joke was he wanted to be killed off in the first reel. Cool, we've killed you off. Now you're back as a ghost.
That's the monkey's paw wish version right there.
That went through numerous iterations. Everyone from, because then it became about handing the torch. That was, I think Hellbent originally was going to be a continuation of the story, and then they're like, we'll just replace, because people want to keep doing this. And Reitman, Aykroyd, Ramis, it's a fun story to tell. They really liked what they were doing. That's why they kept going back. And do to this day. So pretty much any major comedic actor for the last 20 years has been dandied about as a potential Ghostbuster. I fell off the stage in 10th grade. My parents got a phone call. Everyone laughed. So yeah, geez, it was
I remember hearing Ben Stiller and Chris Farley.
Yeah,
Chris Farley would have been a fun Ghostbuster.
Adam Sandler. And then as you move later, the big ones that were talked about, Chris Pratt, Emma Stone.
Emma Stone.
Shoot, I'm blanking. Who voiced Louette? Oh no, Anna Faris. She was talked about in that same era. Pretty much, you name it. If they made you laugh, they were probably talked about.
I guess depending on the timing, having her and Chris Pratt would have made a lot of sense.
I think that Emma Stone was offered a role in the 2016 version and turned it down.
She was discussed along with Anne Hathaway.
I thought I remembered hearing Anne Hathaway's name come up at some point before this movie came out.
Are you gonna leave out the part where they have a evil businessman devil in Manhattan that looks very similar to a Donald Trump?
Wait, really?
Yeah. Kind of called it.
Look, I've said it. I've mentioned this before, but there is a YouTube channel called Some More News that did a movie, which is essentially an entire breakdown of how practically every movie villain from like the late 80s through the 90s is Donald Trump.
Yeah, like during the run up to the election, I'm like, why are we electing Lex Luthor? We already did that plot line.
Seriously.
There was a President Luthor. We did it. We saw that went. No one reads comics here. Okay.
Nope.
They talked about Biff Tannen in Back to the Future 2 running for president. Like,
there's almost no closer like allegory than that.
God damn it.
Maybe there was a time traveler and they were warning us. They're like, the only job I could get was a movie producer. I need to let the people know he's a villain.
Every single movie, and you guys still missed
it.
And
that time traveler was Robert Zemeckis.
I quit. We've peaked.
Sorry, that was just my audio.
How much of Hellbent got turned into the video game? Are we at that point in the timeline?
I think that's a good jump. So after over a decade of development hell, so 2005, 2006, game company approaches to be like, hey, we want to make a Ghostbusters video game. Here's what they can do. They do a quick little like schematic rundown. This is what it can look like. Aykroyd is on board, gets Ramis, gets Reitman. Even Bill Murray's like, fuck it, I'll come do this. Like, I don't have to put clothes on. I can do this in my PJs.
That feels very Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Yep. Comes in, does the video game, and we thought that was the last movie. That's what it was supposed to be. It's got all the beats. They go to like that alternate dimension for a little bit. They dig a little bit more into the Gozer mythos. We thought that's where it was going to end. Fun bit. So almost everyone came back except Sigourney Weaver.
Huh. I thought that was the case. Yeah.
Do you know why?
No, that I don't.
Nobody called.
Are you fucking kidding me?
It's weird.
They're like, it's Sigourney Weaver. She's not going to want to do a video game. We're not going to waste her time. Like, she's just going to say no. She's going to be insulted. We're fine.
That's presumptuous.
Yeah.
She was so let down when she found out. She's like, I love doing that. Like, I want to go back and do more. I wish you guys would have called. I would have absolutely come down to do a voice. That is why her voice is in the Alien video games.
Interesting.
Because she tried to shed Alien for years. That's why they had to kill Ripley off a couple of times. Because she was like, that's one of the reasons she did Ghostbusters. She wanted to be in a comedy. She was getting pigeonholed. So, and like typecast is just this like, that character she's always done. She's like, I want to do something else. the story goes that when auditioning for Ghostbusters for Reitman and everyone, they're like, "Oh, my character turns into a dog," so she got up on the couch and started acting like a dog. Like she wanted the
Where's
fucking
that
job.
footage?
I would love to see that footage. Absolutely. What a treasure. She's amazing.
Yeah, she is absolutely phenomenal. The only blooper that made me laugh was Sigourney Weaver in the 2016 version. Sigourney Weaver flubs a line and just goes, "Sorry, it's my first day acting."
Brilliant.
Oh yeah, oh god, I loved it. So the video game sells over 3 million copies in 2009 at $60 a pop, which to Sony signals, ooh, we've got a franchise at the time when everybody wants a franchise. Like we talked about with everything else coming out in 2016, reboots, book adaptations, just an endless slog of what can we make into 9 movies that will gross $1 billion and we don't have to pay Robert Downey Jr. Like that's it. That's all anybody wants.
Do you know, had they started to, I think it was IDW, did they start doing the comic books by that point? Or was this after the game?
So that might have been around when Route 88 was doing them.
No, somebody did it before. Well, I knew the ones from like the 90s, but I didn't know that they had done comic books outside of IDW.
Yeah, this was before IDW. I want to say it was Route 88, a very small company. They took over, like they got the rights. The art was gorgeous. Remind me and I'll send you some stuff. And then, yeah, IDW picked up and they did some really cool stuff. They did the crossovers with Turtles. They do a lot of like interdimensional stuff where like they're not afraid to pull from, you know, the movies, the real Ghostbusters, the extreme Ghostbusters. That's something we missed. Because for a long time, a lot of fans were like, just give us a fucking extreme Ghostbusters movie. We'll be cool with it. And then, yeah, like they just pull from everything. They got the 2016 Ghostbusters in them every now and then. Like, yeah.
So really quick for the people who don't, who missed that period of time when they did the Extreme Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that one, because I know the real Ghostbusters. I don't know Extreme.
So Real Ghostbusters started 1986, went until 1992. It's one of the longest runs. Michael J. Straczynski of
I know
Babylon 5 fame. Yeah. He was a lead writer. They are the first cartoon to win a daytime Emmy. They had amazing episodes like Call of Cthulhu. The Boogeyman was a constant one. I'm sorry, the Collect Call of Cthulhu.
Right.
Very good. Okay, I like that.
Just a ton of. They did an episode that incorporated the movie.
That's cool.
Yeah, they pop up on YouTube. They pop up online. Absolutely worth a watch. That was also a driving force because the toy lines, which got them in everyone's home and cost my parents so much money.
Mine
to this day, I'm not digging it out. I have my Ecto 1 still.
God. Oh, my best friend growing up had one, and I was so jealous.
Yeah, mine is beat to hell, and I've told everyone I want to be buried with it. Yeah, pile of ash and an Ecto 1. Explain that, archaeologist. So then late 90s, 97, we crop up again with the Extreme Ghostbusters. They wanted to try it. It was the same animation company that did a Men in Black and a Godzilla cartoon in the same era.
I forgot about the Men in Black cartoon. Okay.
Yeah. The monsters look awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's flooding back to me a little bit.
So they do the Real Ghostbusters. They introduce it's Egon. He's the only holdover. He's a professor probably at Columbia, and Janine is still there, and the Ghostbusters are still just holding on. It's just those two. But all of the
Slimer.
Pretty much, yeah.
That rings a bell. Actually, I do remember seeing like toy packaging with that horrible Slimer.
Yeah.
Oh.
Some of the
Ecto 1 was awesome though.
My buddy had that one. That one made sounds.
I have that under my bed right now.
Hell
But yeah, that one, it was Kylie, Roland, Eduardo, and Garrett were the 4. And it was that community scene where the dean walks in and just goes, "Oh, there's one of each." There's one of each person in here. So one of every one of you. Because you got the African American dude, you got the dude in a wheelchair, you have a lady, and you have a Latino or Latinx.
Which one didn't get an action figure, Jack?
The one in the wheelchair, Garrett.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. Yeah, that sucks. But
the reason the show got canceled is because the toys didn't sell.
Yeah. Yep.
They should have had the kid. They should have had the one in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
That's all we were waiting for. So that went on for I think it actually made it like a full 60 episodes. But 40, in the middle, there's a sweet spot. Just do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
In a Thanksgiving episode, they bring back the real Ghostbusters from the cartoon. Lorenzo Music comes back to do Venkman. Who is it? Welker?
Oh, man.
I'm sorry, was that?
Anyway, the original voice actors all come back. And they fight the Bermuda Triangle. It is...
Yeah.
It's an episode. It's a 2-parter.
Nice.
Anyway, so that was 97. And again, this is pre-internet, pre-nostalgia dumping. So anytime you get your hands on something, it's just you gobble it up because you get what you get, and there might not be anything ever again. You don't know. But anyway, so fast forwarding, we're all over. I'm sorry. So 97, that was extreme. 2009 is the video game, which sells phenomenally, is critically not acclaimed, but it hits a good 7.5, 8 out of 10 on most radars, which again signals Sony in the worst possible way to be we got our Marvel. So
we got one.
Sony,
how'd I miss it?
Is the beginning of a woefully hilarious pattern of behavior from Sony. You're never going to have your Marvel at this point, Sony. It's just not going to happen.
The closest they got was Spider-Man, and they had to give him back to Marvel to make money.
Irony.
When Stan Lee was selling the rights to everything, he went to Sony and was like, "Do you want Spider-Man?" They're like, "Yeah, we'll pay this much." He's like, "I'll give you everything for an extra $30." And they're like, "No, we're good. We're gonna take Spider-Man, thanks."
Idiots.
And just FO'd out the door with the one.
They did pick a really good one.
I mean, they picked a very good one, but when you have the entire roster up for a couple bucks more, take it. Come on.
That being said, have you seen Sony's grosses? They might not have had the extra $30.
That's a fair point. Cocaine budget was too high.
I'm gonna take a lot of Sony shots on this, so prep your lawyers.
They've earned it. It's fine. Prep our lawyer we have lawyers.
Are we ready?
Bring us to how do we get from awesome video game to 2016 all-lady Ghostbusters?
So, 2 big people at Sony, Amy Pascal, who we've discussed, and Michael Linton. They seem to be the 2 big ones who wanted Reitman out of the picture. And they went to shady levels. So, and I will say this, I did the thing you don't do. I dropped into Reddit and I went to the Ghostbusters one, and I kind of posted a thing where I'm like, I searched, I went through, I was looking at stuff from 7-8 years ago when this all came out. They will not post or allow posts regarding the Sony leak because it was illegally gained. So I had to go to a worse place. I went to YouTube.
Fair.
Okay.
I went, and now this is where I'm going to get a little conspiracy theorist, but I don't think I'm that far off because it is a corporation trying to save face in their darkest hour.
Okay, so we'll say they allegedly did.
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Allegedly for everything that's about to come out of my mouth.
Just
Even though those emails are out there and you can find them, I just didn't.
Sorry. Earlier today, I told Joe that I longed for conspiracy theories where there's an alien human hybrid with JFK's missing brain called a JFK-alien.
he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I can get behind that one.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
This one involves aliens, allegedly. So, 2013, Reitman and Sony are trying to work out a Ghostbusters deal that will get something on screen that Sony can start their franchise and start raking in the Marvel money.
What year was
2013-ish, 2012, 2013-ish. Right around the time Avengers came out.
Yeah, so
Right, yeah.
firmly established MCU territory.
Yes. So they're having issues. At the same time, Murray is one of the 4 people that has to sign off. They need Reitman, they need Ramis, they need Aykroyd, and they need Murray. Aykroyd, I'm pretty sure if you call and said, hey, I want to do a Ghostbusters, he will say yes before you finish the next noun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I want it. Yes.
Please.
Shadow puppets it is.
I love him to death. I really do. He's just so good. He really is the heart of the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, 100%.
What is it? Ramis always he just wants to tell a good story, and Reitman, same deal. They just want to protect the property, as does Aykroyd. Murray, on the other hand, is the absolute holdout. In the emails that surfaced, Sony executives were planning, not discussing, they were in the planning stages of picking a lawyer who could quietly sue Bill Murray into the fucking ground until he said yes.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, they're like, we're going to do it. We just need someone who will keep it out of the public eye.
Just sue him right into a crater.
So that's kind of where it's left. There's deadline articles and everything that are pretty easily pulled up. On the Reitman front, which is the big one because obviously he's there to direct. He was the holdout until they could get the story that he wanted to tell that was going to circle around the original team, and then let's maybe bring in some new faces. And that's when you start seeing, your Hathaway, Seth Rogen, not Chris Hemsworth, Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum was involved.
I had to bite my tongue so much during episode 1, so thanks for letting me off the leash. So Channing Tatum actually reached out first to Sony saying, I have a great idea for a Ghostbusters movie. I think it was going to be him and Pratt for that one, or him and Rogen.
Given that timing, I could see either of those pairings being involved.
Both were very tied with Sony. That is also, I think, the earliest Pratt was mentioned for Mario. And at the same time, yeah. And also, I missed a big one. Reitman. Never mind. I'll get to that. So there's a lot of stuff being, kind of tossed about like how they're going to do it. And then the sad day comes in 2013 when Harold Ramis passes.
Right.
Ramis and Murray got to bury the hatchet. They were good. It was a sad day. I fucking cried like a little girl.
I remember that. I was busted up about that one.
Yeah, it was really an end era, and we lost one of the great ones. Without getting too cliche. Anyway, so at that point, behind the scenes, Reitman kind of says, hey, I'm going to step back as director. I'm going to take a producer seat on this. When he did an interview with Deadline, kind of, said as much and whatnot. allegedly, everything he said was scripted. Pascal and Linton approved all of it before he went to the interview, allegedly.
Wow.
So we allegedly don't know his actual feelings regarding it.
Holy shit.
So,
big if true.
Yeah. So at the time, now Reitman is off to the side as producer. He wants Lord and Miller, the Lego dudes, to take over Ghostbusters.
Hey.
That's it. He's like, they can do it. They're gonna bring them in. We're gonna do like a little team up movie. You're gonna, get the old guys, get the young bucks in. We're gonna progress from there. Same world, same story, same everything. Allegedly, Amy Pascal was no, that's not long-term viable. We can't be tied to this 30-year-old franchise trying to abide by their rules. They want something new, something fresh. I assume the word extreme was tossed about. Whatever the kids are saying. Initially, she had wanted Mark Webb to do it. At the same time, they were talking about, they were also going to do, Amy Pascal really wanted a female-led something, which I can get behind, all about it. Yeah. I think it was going to be a Spider-Man-centric universe with like Spider-Woman, Black Cat, Gwen Stacy, all the lady characters. It was going to be called Glass Ceiling. That was the working title.
Sorry,
glancing over that.
I just got hit in the face with the point on that one. Just
anyway, some of this is like I've refreshed. Some of it might be getting a little, mishmash together. It's a very intricate web. Thank you. So that doesn't work out. Mark Webb goes on to do Spider-Man to much acclaim. We've said nothing but wonderful things from start to finish. I was in a play with Dane DeHaan once. He was actually pretty cool.
Neat.
So yeah. So anyway, Pascal still pushing. She doesn't get Webb. Doesn't want Lord and Miller. She wants someone who will toe that fucking company line. Someone who has worked on a budget, someone who has worked with a studio, someone who knows how to, is on the same page. And that leads us to my next big villain, allegedly, Paul fucking Feig. Feig was approached by Pascal early in this. However, he turned it down, not because he didn't want to touch a dynasty, not because he didn't want to, intercede where something else was happening, because he didn't want to do a movie where he had to answer to someone else's vision. And he felt that Reitman had too strong feelings towards the project to work with in a way he would appreciate. So Feig wanted to do it his way and would not do it otherwise, allegedly. So,
I mean, it feels like a Feig movie. It does not feel like a Ghostbusters movie.
Exactly. So now we get into, he's going to handpick the actresses he wants. And that's where we get the 4 that we do with Wig, McCarthy, Jones, and McKinnon, which arguably was his only good decision.
Yeah.
So now, allegedly, from some thingies I found online. March 18th, 2014. Reitman. That's when Reitman had the change of heart. Reitman's statement scripted and approved by Pascal. Oh, there we go. That's the thing I just mentioned. December 7th, 2014. Allegedly, there was an email sent. I never thought I'd be on the North Korean side of something, but here we are.
That's a what?
That's what the Sony hack was.
North Korea.
That's right. Okay. Yeah.
So,
sorry.
Yeah.
And it was threat that, like, if you release this movie that makes.
Oh, because of the interview.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yep, Sony already had ties with Rogan, ties with everyone involved. But yeah, so that was the other big thing here, which gave us more than we ever wanted to know about Answer the Call. But it also gave us Spider-Man in the MCU. So,
Yes.
So, in the lead up to this, it was, I think Christmas Day was supposed to be the big hack drop. I don't think they ever actually made it to that. And it wasn't until about halfway through of like a 3-4 week endeavor that like the US government even said like it was North Korea. Was it the Guardians of Peace was what they were calling themselves? But they were actually really shitty. They released employee information and not like big wigs. They were just like employee info everywhere. It's like,
they're not the heroes here.
No, not at all. But they did give us some insight onto the goings on, allegedly. So the reboot would be in a world that's never been essentially a world that did not know ghosts were real. The villain was supposed to be played by like a serial killer type. Initially, the initial name thrown out was Peter Dinklage. As
I was like,
very, very different vibe altogether.
Yeah. Yep. Now that being said, Reitman wanted Sacha Baron Cohen as the villain because he thought he would do a very good job of balancing the actual horror of it and the comedy.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Some things that did carry through from like the initial pitch, it was supposed to be more like research based instead of like ghosts are real. How do we pay it? Like get people to pay us. It was supposed to be more that like 4 women of like different backgrounds come together to create, you've got the engineer, the scientist, the believer, street smarts, essentially, to bring in to like make this group that's going to take on this Dinklage ghost who has the power to control, to essentially pull ghosts from this other ghost world. And he's like, I'm going to pull all the bad ones, your Gacy's, your Dahmers, et cetera,
Oh, no.
your Trumps. So
one could dream.
Yep. And then the culmination of that first film, and actually like you do see a lot of the bones of this come through. It was supposed to be, okay, the government does it, they don't admit it publicly. They would do things like, oh, there's going to be a ghost giant thing. We're going to evacuate everything, call it a gas leak in the end, or call it whatever, something when a terrorist attack. Now it's, but the Ghostbusters went in and saved the day. And the Cicely Strong character was from beginning to end, so much so in that first email, allegedly, it was that a Cicely Strong type character would come in and publicly admonish and like personally insult the 4 women, but then in private be like, hey, thanks for doing that one. Great fucking job. You nailed it. And that was going to be like that relationship rather than the Walter Peck who was just like, fuck y'all the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
However, both Walter Peck and Cicely Strong, dickless. So
that poor actor.
Oh God.
So the reason he didn't come back for Ghostbusters 2 is because in the original script, Peck was supposed to come back. He refused because he was walking down the street, and there's a school bus full of children, everyone's worst nightmare. And they look out the window and they see him and they're like, oh, hey, over here. And he's like, oh, hey, yeah, that was me in Ghostbusters. Nice to see you. I'm a famous actor. It's my day. I got some ice cream and I'm having a nice day. I'm going to go see my family. And then one of the kids yells, yo, dickless.
Yep.
Which prompts the rest of the school children to call him dickless.
Dickless. Just,
oh,
from the mouths of babes. Just...
So that was William Atherton. Christ. He's not coming back.
No.
They're far-flung future. There's rumors he might come back. It only took 30 years.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Pausing us briefly, I did try to fix this movie. I did try.
I believe that.
You got Zemeckis' time machine?
And I will, I won't read the whole thing because I do have something planned for the third act of this episode. It's not the fix. I will breeze over the fix.
Okay.
But Walter Peck is definitely in it.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm very curious.
So while I have us paused, let's get to the how we ended up with this version of the film and then break.
Okay.
All right. So now you've got Paul Feig in charge. From there, it was a little bit of a steam run in. Reitman's out of the picture. Now they, Murray's finally signed off and just said, whatever, do it. Rumor has it with the help of McCarthy, after working on, I think it was St. Vincent's together, she would be like, I'm a Ghostbuster, come on out. And he really liked her. And he spoke about it in interviews as much as well. Again, Ernie Hudson was on board, but he did say it was a bad idea. Aykroyd, same deal. Like, Aykroyd's actually always championed the female Ghostbuster aspect, but has been lukewarm on the actual execution.
Fair.
Sure.
Yeah.
Reitman kind of covered himself pretty well. He was very like, hey, you gotta Ghostbusters, have fun. Not what I envisioned, but I hope you enjoy. That kind of.
I can't say I blame him for handling it that way. He's trying to be diplomatic in those situations, especially with the allegedly's back there.
Someday when we're not on mic, I'll tell you everything I found.
I am very curious for that, but
yeah. So yeah, it was a very rough lead up to filming. There were a couple of posts and a couple of rumors that came out that filming was very rough. McCarthy and an unnamed female co-star had a battle of the egos. I have my theories, but it was one of those, like, we need to make sure they have the same amount of screen time, same amount of lines.
One of those.
Yeah.
Okay.
One
Bunny
of
and
the
Mickey Mouse from Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Then what was it? Rumors Kristen Wiig would be heard in her trailer, just like on the phone, calling friends, like, the fuck did I get myself into?
Kristen.
I believe that one. I believe that rumor.
Yeah.
And then probably about me. And then also rumors of like Feig just going off and crying.
But
I don't know if it was because he had to do so many musical numbers or if he didn't get enough musical numbers. That was something else I found, which actually made sense in a better form movie. Ballad. It would have been a much better, like, so the whole dance thing at the end with like the cops and soldiers dancing was supposed to be a concept from that original like pitch where the Rowan character wanted to embarrass the U.S. like government and military. So
that's a way to do that.
Dance.
Yeah, you force them to mime or to mimic your dancing. Yeah.
Other stuff in the lead up. This was all supposed to be part of a franchise where that mid-credit scene where they mentioned Zool. That was supposed to kick off into, so we'd get the 16 Feig Ghostbusters. Rogan was supposed to have his own. I think that was going to be Rogan and Channing Tatum doing their Ghostbusters. And then on an offshoot, they were supposed to have a Slimer like kids movie or cartoon they were going to do. And that's where Slimer gets the Lady Slimer. That was supposed to be part of it. Like this was all, we all tried to.
Awful.
And then the last, so it was going to be, this one sets up Zool. Next one, you're going to meet Keymaster and Gatekeeper. And then the third, the teams were going to come together, pull in the Slimer cartoon, and they were going to face off against Gozer. Allegedly.
Allegedly. That's wow. That is a lot to. That's ambitious to think that was all going to come together.
And now my gift to you, a commercial break.
All right, we'll be right back.
Oh, sorry, I had to cut out a lot.
What was the fix I even came up with?
Was it whiskey?
Nope. No, generally my fix for these is you just shouldn't have done it. Don't.
You've only done that
don't do
once.
that. I mean, but like, I have a feeling this season's gonna be like, why? Just don't. Love Guru, don't.
Can I pitch something?
Sure.
Just real quick. And this is like my concept because like I'll tell you a secret. I've listened to your show before, so I knew a fix was coming.
You and two other people.
The big thing. And it's something that Pascal said in one of the emails. It doesn't matter who the producer is. If we have the wrong director, she pulled the wrong fucking director. So rather than going Feig, she should have gone to someone else that they could have and should have gone to, Judd Apatow. He handles heart way fucking better. Not only that, if you're going to go with a big improvisational cast like that, so I just listened to a thing with Elizabeth Banks where she was talking about working with Judd Apatow, and essentially her rendition is so. Feig lets people go, and they're just like, we'll pull the best parts and put it together in a weird like kaleidoscope of things I think are funny. But Judd Apatow will let them go for like 10 minutes on a bit. Like they'll just let them work off each other for a 10-minute scene. And he has an assistant that he taps and says, remember that, write that down. And then they'll cut. And then they'll give it to the actors and be like, this is the stuff that worked. Focus on that, incorporate that, tweak that.
Interesting.
I like that approach.
With that cast, like that's what you want to do because there's a lot of gold in there, especially if you do to that like Jokes Aplenty. I think that's what it's called. Like you've got like some good nuggets, and if you could grow that into a cornfield. Instead, he just left it on the fucking movie theater floor.
I'm sighing at my own fix.
No. Did you write it in a fugue state?
Well, I alternated between Love Guru and Ghostbusters.
True. Yes.
Like in the writing of those scripts.
Oh no.
I think my fix for Love Guru is actually worse. Oh, I see what you did there.
It's fun getting the behind the scenes on this. It's also fun getting to actually interject. I'm sorry.
I imagine that you find moments where you want to do that a lot. Just
like I'm on the way to work at like 5 a.m. yelling at you.
Same. I just yell at myself 5 a.m. I mean, it's not the worst fix.
What do you think?
I think they shouldn't have made this movie.
Well, yeah, that's. I mean, are you ready to jump back in? Do you want to? How do you want to proceed?
I liked Toaster's idea.
As did I.
Of the whiskey.
Also, yes.
Let me stretch my back real quick because it hurts like hell.
Okay, fair enough. Actually, I'm gonna get some more. I'm gonna get some water real quick. My legs. Yeah. Hurt that.
Grandma New Jack exercises.
All right. The words still look like words for now. So let's see if we can get through this before it all starts bleeding together.
So what? So just game plan wise, what we're jumping into fix right now?
Jumping in the fix. And then we're going to talk about how it didn't work and how we feel about specifically legacy sequels, where they try to specifically bring in the new team.
Okay.
And how I think it is the worst fucking idea.
And then that's the wrap up.
Yeah, but I also want to know what Jens's opinions are on that.
Well, yeah, no, it'd be, it'd be a little weird not to be an opinion based.
Hey, shut the fuck up! I'm right. The end.
Okay, you ready?
I am. Hey, welcome back. Are we recording? I hope so. It's gonna be a fun one.
That's fine. I put a new wax cylinder in the phonograph. We're fine.
Oh God. So thank you, Toaster, for that well researched and some would say obsessive knowledge of
allegedly
of the Ghostbusters franchise. Maybe someday I'll have you on to cover Ghostbusters Afterlife and Ghostbusters. It was chilly outside. What are they calling the next one?
I don't remember.
I like that.
It showed a frosty ghost.
I hope his hell freeze is over. I think that'd be good.
That'd be sweet.
That'd be a cool title.
I don't even want to rewatch it again because I got so fucking sad when they had Ghost Egon. So
I'm already aware of Ghost Egon. Yeah, that got spoiled for me shortly after the release. Yeah, I appreciate you trying to save me on that one, but
I maybe it's because I've been researching for this episode, but my algorithms were like, hey, you would like, you big fucking nerd, a Funko. And I'm like, probably. And it's like, what if
Ghost Egon?
What if it's Ghost Egon? I'm like, no, it's so sad.
Mine was unaffected.
Oh, God. Yeah, I don't. It's that one gets me, and David Bowie. Those are the two deaths that I like still fucking hurt.
For me, the ones that I don't think I'll ever truly get over. It's Bowie, it's Ramis, it's Robin Williams, and Philip Seymour Hoffman.
I wasn't a big Hoffman fan. Not that I dislike him, just that I didn't watch a whole lot of movies.
I really liked him.
I'm incredible actor in what I've seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, Robin Williams.
That one's still that hurts. Hurts so bad.
Now that we're all sad, I think we should replace Kristen Wiig with Sandra Bullock. I would like to replace Leslie Jones with Keke Palmer. Those are my two switches.
Was Keke Palmer acting in 2016? I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not wholly aware of most of her career. I only really know her from Nope.
I knew her from Scream Queens, actually.
Oh,
yeah. So the first season of Scream Queens, they introduced like the protagonist, and then Keke Palmer's the like fun sidekick. But then everybody was like, "Oh shit, the sidekick's like way more talented.
She's a really good actress,
way more entertaining to watch." So in the second season, they're like, "Oops, where'd that one go?"
So she just usurped the show.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And she's incredible. And then she was also in I think it was MTV, Scream TV series for a bit. So yeah, she was a little younger, but I kind of like that you have these women that are a little older, but then you have like the younger. There's
a younger kind of streetwise member. That could be interesting.
Also, different kind of humor.
True. Yeah, you're diversifying the humor a little bit, so it's not quite the SNL heavy style.
Yeah. I'm not the person to fix this, just like I was not the person
to fix Blonde.
It's certainly not that. I'm talking in the past tense for an episode that we haven't recorded yet.
Oh, gotcha.
Not
wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
The person to fix Love Guru, because again, these are not humor styles that I enjoy.
Fair.
Sketch comedy and me don't get along. But Keke Palmer is fucking hilarious, and I would love to see her interact with Holtzman.
The idea of Keke Palmer and Kate McKinnon interacting is fun.
Well, because Keke Palmer is going to be hilarious, but also the more like grounded person. Like, what the fuck are these people doing? That's the person I miss, because the Winston was like, "You're paying me. I'm here. I don't know the fuck's going on." There's a joke from the first Ghostbusters that I didn't understand as a kid.
Yeah,
and that just pops in my head all the time. And I think it's when they're talking to the mayor, and Winston's like, "I've seen shit that would turn you white."
Yes.
And like, as a kid, I was like, "Oh, like in cartoons when the person like goes white as a sheet."
Like, no, Jack.
Nope.
No, not like that, Jack.
Winston truly is my favorite character. Oh, God,
Winston's so
much.
good. I love him.
They're all good, but Winston just like, I feel you.
Ernie Hudson's delivery is just mwah.
I wish he were in more things, because he was also in Crow, and those are, I think, the only two things I know him
Oh
from.
man,
The Substitute, was that him?
I'm not familiar with that.
Is he the villain? He does pop up in like so many things. He steals whatever scene he's in.
Yeah, he's a really good like character actor. Pops in for a scene, steals it, and he's like, peace. But Keke Palmer also is kind of like that. So I wanted Sandra Bullock because, one, I think she would do it because she's worked with Feig and she's worked with McCarthy,
and they tend to work well together.
Yeah. Sandra Bullock is really good at playing the kind of like headstrong, but like secretly low self-esteemed character. And I think that's Kristen Wiig also does that, but is not good at the like headstrong part. We need the like Captain Ahab.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely see how Bullock would be a stronger choice on that front.
So like intense and determined, but secretly fragile. Plays well off of McCarthy. Is trying to get tenure, but is conflicted because she's been obsessed with breaking through the barrier since she was a child and her mom died. So we had that like one scene in the 2016 version where Wiig is talking about this like next door neighbor or whatever who dies, and she like sees her.
She stands at the foot of her bed for like an entire year. Yeah.
Yeah. And I liked that element, but I was like, you could have made it more personal, and therefore more driven. So when the barrier is being broken down, she's conflicted because she's like, well, I kind of want to see my mom, but also ghost world bad.
It's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic because she's so like the Erin that we see with Kristen Wiig is so determined to protect the barrier. Like it's not like she isn't like once she's brought back into the ghost hunting or the ghost busting world or the ghost research world, it like the barrier is like a given, is like it has to be a constant for her, otherwise hell breaks loose.
Right. This is a very different. This is an entirely different character. Really. It's like half Bill Pullman from Casper, trying to find his like dead wife, and I can't actually see what Matt's doing.
Casper is canon to Ghostbusters.
It is.
That's I did not know that.
Who said it?
Reitman, apparently.
Ivan Reitman.
Ivan Reitman has said that. I have no idea. That's
Dan Aykroyd has a cameo as Ray.
Yeah. Who are you gonna call? Someone else. Yeah. But like,
oh my god.
Tone wise, it works. Like they both have a very similar tone.
Oh.
I love that. I'm gonna have a double feature later. Anyway, but it's like half that, half Dr. Frankenstein. Like, can we break through this barrier? I kind of think I can.
Okay.
And I'm motivated to do so. I know it's a bad idea, but still has anger problems, but like more so because it's Sandra Bullock and she can play that better.
So she's still going to punch Chris Gethard in the face.
Definitely going to do that. But like, it looks like that. Whereas like Kristen Wiig, I'm like, that probably didn't hurt. Sandra Bullock, I'm like, oh god, yeah, he probably like fuck that guy's face up.
Yeah.
Melissa McCarthy essentially stays the same. She still has her style of humor. I want to make her like the kind of more like the Ray, right? Has all the weird knowledge, super into it, but also like very loyal. And I love the way that she plays off of Bullock. I also want to change her to being a high school science teacher rather than like, I think she's like community college or whatever.
Something like that. It's a little unclear what this institution is.
Yeah.
Because it's seems to be like shadily funded and run by like a violent, incompetent weirdo.
Yeah. But I wanted to push them more towards being working class again and having a high school teacher who like on the side is trying to still live out their childhood dream of finding ghosts.
Okay.
Felt more real to me. Kate McKinnon is exactly the same, only overtly gay.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Should have been, is now. There's a little bit of this in the movie with her hitting on Wig.
For like a second.
But I'm like, just all out. Wants to fuck Bullock. Also, so she specifically works at the Chinese restaurant, and at the high school, and has a third job. She's the millennial vibe. I mean, she's not actually, but like
Just
she's
a
working
teacher,
3 jobs.
really.
I mean,
Right.
yeah,
Running a
frankly,
Chinese restaurant, is a high school teacher, and has like a third job, probably
DJ.
remote. Yeah,
DJ on the weekends.
She'd probably be a really good DJ. But she's always getting Benny to cover her shifts because she's like kind of flaky, but also super busy. And like Benny's always going to be like, yeah, I guess.
Oh, so you get to rope Benny in a little bit more.
Yeah.
More meaningfully.
Yes. And then Keke Palmer is younger generation, quippy, grounded in reality. I was a little hesitant to have her connecting with Bullock, especially over. They both have the need to get shit done.
Okay.
They're both like down to business, whereas Melissa McCarthy's like off in Ghostland, and Holtzman is Holtzman.
So do you think do you think they butt heads a little bit?
No, I'm hesitant because of Bullock's history with
The Blind Side.
The Blind Side. Yes,
I will say that's not Bullock's fault.
That's not her fault. It's not her fault.
Oh God.
I don't even want to go into it. Let's just say that true story is maybe not so true and is problematic. Also, Chris Hemsworth. I did hear you, Toaster. You did say Helmsworth. I heard it. It's not just me. You thought I'd miss it, but I didn't.
I missed it.
You said it, and then you immediately went on to Channing Tatum, but I caught it. Anyway, so Chris Hemsworth, exactly the same person, except
Channing
we
Tatum.
see him play the saxophone.
I really think it should have been a flute. Saxophone feels a little on the nose. Is actually named Oscar, but his friends call him Kevin.
Ooh.
Oscar.
Yeah. Nice.
Huh.
And but his friends call him Kevin because okay.
I'm kind of sorry Oscar grew up to be such a fucking idiot, but
well, he takes after his dad.
No, fair.
Okay, so the general plot is a little darker because I am me. So the Ghostbusters and the Ghostbusters likeness are now privately owned and have a government contract with the city government. Ghostbusters was bought out after they were sued into the ground following the Statue of Liberty incident. The company is run by power-hungry madmen who won't let the ghosts be ghosts, stay dead, a thing of the past. Definitely not a metaphor for the Ghostbusters and Sony. In nostalgia in general. The person who runs the corporation is Walter Peck.
Oh, Jesus.
We still have the Neil Casey's Ronin character because he leans more into the dark magic stuff. He's just like they're like, oh, that big nerd that knows how to do the dark magic. And therefore, the whole plan is Walter Peck runs Ghostbusters Corps, which is a plot thread that Aykroyd threw around for a little bit. And the only reason there is a Ghostbusters Corps is because Rowan is releasing the easy peasy ghosts here and there for Ghostbuster Corps to capture
as a distraction.
Partially as a distraction, in league with the mayor because the government sucks.
A shout out to Andy Garcia who played the mayor in this.
Yeah, it was actually kind of
really
good.
good,
Yeah. So anytime there needs to be a distraction, or it's an election year, or anytime the mayor needs to look good, he's like, "Look, I brought in Ghostbusters." They were my idea with my good buddy Walter Peck, who definitely has a penis.
It's in his contract that I have to address it.
I have to address it.
I've jailed 376 school students for calling him dickless this year alone.
I love that subplot.
Riker's got unfortunate on another level.
So this is what it does for the story. Let's push through that. They are once again working class heroes.
Sure.
They do have a legacy villain, plus the creepy incel, plus the fucking government. They have all these villains that are human.
Yeah.
They are demonized in the media because Walter Peck fucking hates them.
Yeah.
Wants nothing to do with them.
Yeah. They ruined his tenure at the EPA.
And they gave him an unfortunate name.
Yeah.
Dumped a bunch of marshmallow on him too.
A ton of marshmallow. He got real gooey.
Shaving cream, actually.
Yeah, I know.
And they did not tell him it was about to happen.
Yeah, honestly, I feel really bad for that actor.
That's just rude.
Now, I think he had a reaction too. I think his skin.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, it's just like this poor actor really doesn't deserve all this. So what Peck doesn't know is that Rowan is planning to betray him because his boss is a Chad, and Rowan is an incel.
Yeah.
So the threat of like old friends burying the hatchet, getting back together, or like getting together to do this ghost busting thing, that all remains the same. However, they cannot legally call themselves the Ghostbusters because that's owned by Walter Peck. What they can call themselves is the real Ghostbusters.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
good.
I love that.
Which I don't know how well it's known by non-nerds, but the reason the real Ghostbusters is called the real Ghostbusters
because there was
another a cartoon by I think Funimation or something called
with the gorilla.
The Ghostbusters. Yeah, with a gorilla.
With a gorilla. Yeah. There are I've seen several YouTube videos on this subject. So yeah, people are aware of it.
Know. So Winston is introduced early, not Uncle. I don't know what they call him in the movie, but it is Winston. He does run a funeral home. It is definitely a front for catching ghosts with Ray.
Nice.
That
fucking rules, actually.
Yeah. So whenever Peck's Ghostbusters are unable to handle a thing, they do it. They're taking care of like the actual
the real threats.
The real Ghostbusters become public knowledge when the dragon ghost that we see in the movie becomes too much for Peck's Ghostbusters.
Why was that thing a dragon?
It was stupid.
I hated that entire scene, except for the mannequin. Mannequin was good.
Mannequin was good.
Awesome,
mannequin was very good, but it should have been like a ghost of a person inside of it. Why was it like a winged demon thing?
Yeah.
Like all the ghosts in the original were people.
Why did they have Ozzy Osbourne and make up a band? Nobody knows.
I forgot that.
I didn't think about that actually, but you're right.
So
I have a tremendous pet peeve where when they do any kind of band thing in like a movie, like dude, pull a local band, do anything. If you're gonna do the Ghostbusters thing, like they're referencing everything anyway. Call the band the Scoleri Brothers.
Ooh,
that would be pretty cool.
I like
total
that.
platonic revert, something. Yeah. I'm sorry. Continue.
So you know how we all kind of liked the tenure aspect.
Yeah.
But it ended too soon.
Yeah.
Well, in this version, it doesn't end until the real Ghostbusters show up. It's not a dragon. We can make it whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
It's the Scoleri brothers again. They've shown up. I like them. They were
I like
scary.
the Scoleri brothers. Yeah.
When the real Ghostbusters take care of it, all of their equipment is taken into custody. And this is when the mayor calls up the head of Columbia, whatever, dean or whatever, and he's like, hey, you got to get rid of this teacher because I'm the mayor and evil. Listen, they're not all winners. So Bullock is then removed from staff. This is when the Ghostbusters kind of like crack.
Sure.
She's like, I just lost tenure because of this stupid shit. They don't have the equipment. Rowan's out there releasing big monster ghosts that Peck's guys can't handle. And this is when Kevin arrives with the equipment. And they're like, how did you get our equipment? And he's like, oh, I called my mom's friends and asked for help. And the other three guys in the car, or the other three people in the car, are Ray, Winston, and Dana.
Yeah.
Because his mom's Dana.
Because his mom's Dana. Yeah, because he's Oscar.
Because he's Oscar.
Yeah.
Just very pretty and kind of dumb. This is when we learn that he's Oscar, because Dana, his mom, calls him
the big
Oscar.
Yeah, it's the big reveal.
Yeah. He is dumb. Yep. That's established. Oscar asks where dad is. Oh, Oscar asks where dad is. Oh, yeah, I don't like that thread. I was keeping Bill Murray's cameo the same, right? So he was the non-believer.
Right. Who gets yeeted out a window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And initially he like did that because he wanted to unnecessarily test to see if they were competent enough to be Ghostbusters. And is now in the hospital. And part of that I did because I assumed Bill Murray would not want to cooperate.
Sure.
So I was like, okay, well, if he's just like a bandaged dude in a bed mumbling, that could be anybody. I don't really like that thread. Anyway, so they've been trying to fix this movie for like, what, 25, 30 years? And I had 5 days. So, like, listen. Rowan turns
what year is it?
I don't know. It's like 60 years they've been working on this film. So Rowan turns the corporate logo of the Ghostbusters turns into the kind of like they kind of do it in the movie, but I want it to be like very blatant that the corporate logo is the villain.
His name is Mowgli.
Mowgli?
The name of the ghost in the No Ghost logo. The ghost name is Mowgli.
I didn't know he had a name.
Yeah.
Really?
Mowgli?
Someone married me.
You hear that, you filthy incels? There's somebody out there for everyone.
Everyone has someone. Everyone stands a chance. Love is real, damn it.
So Rowan becomes Mowgli? Sure. He then turns his Chad boss, Walter Peck, into some other monster. It could be a giant Walter Peck. It doesn't matter.
This is a giant dick.
It's just a giant dick. Yeah. I told you I had a dick. Which causes the two teams to split up. The real Ghostbusters, the women.
Oh, no. Rowan would turn him into a giant Ken doll.
Oh, yeah.
So he becomes dickless.
Man, the rights on this are so screwed.
Yeah, honestly.
Can we do a copyright safe version of a Ken doll? Ooh. Anyway, real Ghostbusters go off to fight Rowan and the OG Ghostbusters. So Winston, Ray, Dana.
No. I made myself sad.
And Oscar.
And Oscar.
Because I really want to see Sigourney Weaver act with Chris Hemsworth, the dummy.
I would love that. That would be absolutely beautiful.
Loves her son to death. Fully aware he's an idiot.
Oh, yeah.
They go to like fight the corporate overlords. I mean, Walter Peck. I mean, Sony. The end. Mayor is ousted because of evil bullshit. I did not end. This rights revert back to. Oh, Jack, why do you do this? So having outed the mayor for doing evil mayor things, the right and Walter Peck as is now a giant Ken doll.
Yeah.
It's a weird twist. The rights.
You're welcome.
The rights revert back to the original owners. The Ghostbusters rights revert back to the original owners, which would be Egon, but Egon has passed away. So it'd be Egon's children, someone called Callie, which effectively ties together the 4 teams, because that would be the team that's in Afterlife.
Okay.
Did I say 4? I did. Yep, because the Extreme Ghostbusters were put together during the Secret Ghostbuster years by Egon. If you wanted nostalgia? Here you go. Eat it. Eat all the nostalgia.
Where were you when Sony needed a good idea? Because you just tied like everything they wanted, and they're too dumb to realize you were taking shots at them.
You Jack, I know this is gonna hurt you.
I hate this.
This is gonna hurt you when I say this. But I mean it in a complimentary way, I promise. You just did a Matrix 4.
I want to cry. I don't even know what that means.
No, because it's a meta joke about Sony's bullshit, and that's what Matrix 4 is. Was a meta commentary on Warner Brothers bullshit.
Oh, I didn't.
And the reception of their own movies.
Yeah. Well,
now I need to rewatch. Oh God, now I have to rewatch Matrix 4. No, I'll watch a video essay.
Man, it's not subtle.
Okay,
it's not subtle. It's that scene where John Groff and Keanu Reeves first sit down together and they're like, so our parent company at Warner Brothers Entertainment has decided they want to make another Matrix.
Yeah,
that's it. Like it is. It's not.
I kind of bleached that.
It's text.
Movie
it's
from
like, there's no subtext. It's just text.
But somebody from Warner Brothers was like, "Yeah, sounds good.
That's pretty good. Yeah, we did do.
We're gonna make so many monies."
That's exactly. Yeah, exactly.
God damn it. Well, here you go, Sony.
Hey, do you know what we didn't talk about at all?
What didn't we talk about at all?
The entire final scenes.
That's true. Yeah, we really didn't talk at all about like the final battle scenes. But
which, by the way, I really dug. I really enjoyed that.
I'm gonna use my authority as Lord of Podcasts to not do that.
I think we could leave it as it was a fun sequence.
How many people need to download this to get me to have you do like Ghostbusters Answer the Call Part 2? I will hire Russian bots.
Do I get to provide the meta commentary and be the Bill Murray who just never reads the script?
Yeah.
Just is not present. I could do a cameo for that episode.
I could kill you in the first reel. I'm sorry.
I will show up, talk some shit on you guys, and then get thrown out the window. If we do it like that, and it's the first floor, because we're currently on the second floor, and I listen. I only need to fall off the second floor of a house once in my life.
Yeah, it's not fun.
I mean, I was very drunk, so it didn't matter. Don't do that.
No, bad idea.
People died.
0 out of 10.
So what'd you think of the fix?
I thought it was fun. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
I would really watch that movie.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very, discerning when it comes to Ghostbusters.
Well, I hated it. I don't think it would work.
You don't think it would work?
I don't think it would. It make money? Yes. Do I think it would work as a movie that is good? No.
I don't know.
Technically, this made money.
Yeah.
2016, 144 for a for a budget, and it brought in, I think, 2 something worldwide.
I mean, will it make money? Yes. Will it be good? No.
Yeah.
The box office is not an indicator as to whether or not a movie is good or not.
I mean, yeah. If we've learned anything.
So with the remaining time that we have, I would like to briefly discuss whether or not legacy sequels work as a good movie. So I'm thinking specifically the Star Wars trilogy sequel, 7, 8, 9. I'm thinking of legacy sequels that specifically try to replace the former characters with new characters. The new team shows up. And the two that I thought of while I was trying to go to sleep last night was Star Wars and Tron.
I've still not seen the more recent Tron.
Did you listen to the soundtrack?
No.
You should listen to the soundtrack.
Well, it's Daft Punk, isn't it?
It's Daft Punk. It's
okay,
really
well,
good.
yeah, I'll enjoy that. Yeah.
Don't watch the movie. I mean, the movie's fine. You could just put it on and listen to the soundtrack parts.
Just like me, so like, I put the movie on, mute it, and then put the soundtrack on.
Yeah.
So like I'm watching the Penguins game, but I want to listen to the radio broadcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess. Is that what sports people do?
Sometimes, like, if you don't like the TV broadcast commentators, but you really want to listen to commentary while you're watching what's happening, but you like the radio comment. This is not relevant. Let's go. Let's keep going.
So do you just like watch Angels in the Outfield, but throw on like a baseball game in the background? And you're like, I think this is. I want to watch the movie, but I want to know how the Pirates are doing.
That's like
nobody wants to know how the Pirates are doing.
It's like some 4D movie watching right there.
Oh God. What was I talking about?
I'll actually put out one of the rare ones where legacies actually work. Funny enough, full circle, Afterlife.
Did it?
I still haven't seen it, so I can't judge.
Let's not go down that. Let's not go down.
Okay,
for me,
right. For me,
I sat with
fine.
I sat next to 2 of my oldest friends, all huge like ghost heads, and like we just like wept, like at the end, like that's what we wanted.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, when Ghosty Gone showed up, I also cried, but tears don't mean it was good.
I think True Testament will be if the next one works.
Fair.
I want to watch it again before I make a decision. I was kind of underwhelmed the first time I watched it, but it's kind of like, how do you make a sequel in the same timeline and have it live up to expectations? But that's also kind of the point I'm trying to make, is can you have a legacy film where you're passing the torch and have it be a satisfying movie that's not just nostalgia farming?
So I guess the only meaningful way that I can engage with this, and I'm so mad, is Star Wars.
Right.
It's the only real way that I can engage with this discussion, because it's the only legacy on that, like, in that vein that I have that experience with. And
there's Jurassic Park movies. No, don't want to talk about those. No.
I've seen the first of those,
yeah, me too.
And I didn't land for me, but
it's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Like
when I saw The Force Awakens for the first time, my reaction was, okay, that was basically A New Hope all over again, but I didn't hate it. It did what I wanted the movie to do, which was recapture the magic of Star Wars as I remembered it. Which, arguably, that level of nostalgia is that's J.J. Abrams' wheelhouse as a filmmaker. He's not a good storyteller, but he'll get you with the visual magic of a nostalgia thing. Yeah, he'll get you. He'll find you.
I like the first 40 minutes or so. I like everything up until they show up at What's-Her-Face's bar and tavern.
See, I liked Maz Kanata's tavern. I just wish that I wish that setup had gone anywhere in the future.
Well, that's just the story starts falling apart at that point.
Does it?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Abrams special.
What's up? Well, they lose momentum for one.
Okay.
I should probably say I've not rewatched this movie since I saw it in theaters, whatever year that came out.
I know I've
17?
rewatched it once since then, but it's been a while.
But it becomes a lot of and thens at that point.
Okay.
So it's just like beat and beat and beat, but not really like connective tissue. It's like, we got a Death Star, we got to fight. Also, this scene's happened. Also, got to ruin your favorite character.
You gotta ruin your favorite character?
Yeah, you gotta kill him, I guess.
Yeah, but he wasn't gonna do it otherwise.
That's fine. Don't do that.
All right, fair.
I should.
Right.
Okay, spoilers. The conclusion I came up with is, if you're going to have a legacy team that's I would rather see an original product with an maybe even similar idea rather than trying to milk nostalgia and force a good story out of it. Like,
I would rather they don't milk nostalgia to force a good story out of it. I do agree with you there. I think like the spirit of what they were kind of trying to go for, or at least what it felt like they were trying to go for with the new Star Wars trilogy, I think could have worked. Because like the idea being that like you had this new team, but like overall, like each of those movies was supposed to be like one for each of the big three. Where the first one's Han's movie, the second one's Luke's movie, the last one's Leia's movie.
Right.
Of course, life kind of came and fucked that up a little bit. But you need, if you're going to go about it the way they were, you need very clear and intentional collaboration and cooperation between the filmmakers, of which there was very obviously none. Like after Rise of Skywalker came out, it was like they basically admitted there was no consultation between Abrams and Johnson, which is the biggest mistake in the fucking world. Like, how on earth would you do that? And how much like I would almost, like, if you're gonna do that, then just like fuck off. Don't let J.J. Abrams come back. Just keep Colin Trevorrow or hire somebody else. Nia DaCosta, Taika Waititi. Who fucking cares? Just somebody else. Like, or you have one person who carries it through all three and has a cohesive vision for how it's going to grow, so that it is actually a well stewarded story.
That should have been Kathleen Kennedy, but
I mean, she's an executive though. She's not right. She's not in that creative seat. Sorry, Matt's been trying to get a word in edgewise while I've ranted here.
No, I'm also just reacting. My point I was going to make is this is the first time we get legacy movies.
That's also true.
It's a whole new genre. No one's figured it out yet because this is our first go around. We've had remakes, but I mean, up until recently, people didn't even really care about sequels. Like, they used it to get people in the door, besides like Star Wars and a few big ones. But like, look at Jaws. So you've got Jaws, huge, the biggest, like the original blockbuster. Everyone comes out to see it. Jaws 2, cool. Everyone's already coming. Cut the budget in half. Get a script out now. Jaws 3. People came out. Do it again. Budget in half. Get butts in seats. This is the first time, again, with the exceptions of the rare ones like Star Wars, and honestly, that's kind of Indiana Jones, where we're seeing this, like, companies have realized what nostalgia can be and how you can use that as a draw.
And actually putting like real resources into it.
Exactly. So it's still companies, creators trying to find a way to make these stories viable with actors who, if they did it 20 years ago, who says they want to do it now? who says they want to come back and revisit these, especially there's a big difference between the actors who started these roles, and the actors who grew up loving them and are helping kick off this nostalgia event. Because if you called any actor and do you want to be a Ghostbuster? Yes. Do you want to be an Indiana Jones? Yes. Do you want to see a dinosaur in Jurassic Park? Absolutely. No one's saying no.
Emma Stone did.
Emma Stone did.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Some people say no, but
valid. Okay, but 9 times out of 10, if you reach out, I was reading something like every cast member of Ghostbusters was like, I want to do this. I've always wanted to be a Ghostbuster. We're the generation of, I got into acting, because I love this movie. And this is one of the first times you get into acting because you want to be a Ghostbuster. Cool. There's a Ghostbuster movie. I got into because I wanted to be Batman. Cool. Here's a Batman movie. This is the first time we're getting legacy. So the creators have to catch up with what audiences want today.
So there's a matter of figuring out how to work that without it being just a nostalgic cash grab, with it actually being a unique, interesting story that's worth telling.
Right. Mm-hmm.
This is the first time we're getting legacy films. It's been happening in plays for years. I had to be that obnoxious person. I'm sorry. There's a lot of like ancient Greek plays came in trilogies, but it's fine. In cinema, this is a newer thing. Anyway,
gotta go pull out my Greeks.
Have I already said what my hope is with the strike? Did we already talk about that? I think we did.
Refresh my memory because it's a different episode.
It's true. Specifically that the big tentpole films kind of collapse in on themselves, and we get a bunch of mid-level.
We see like a new revival of like the mid-budget drama or mid-budget comedy that that becomes more independently feasible.
I think that perhaps, much like when we're talking about sketch comedy, I'm not the audience for this. I would prefer to have everything collapse in on itself and go back to the New Hollywood era.
But there's a problem there too, that you can never go back home, right? Like you can't, like there's no real going back to what was New Hollywood.
Kinda.
I mean, just based on like the studio conditions, right? Like sure. Hollywood's a completely different beast than it once was.
Oh, certainly. I mean, just the invention of digital cinema has made it so that more people have access to the equipment to make films. I mean, look at us, a couple of fucking assholes.
Look at us fucking chuds over here. Yeah. But the excuse me. I've been listening to an audiobook, Oscar Wars, where it's going all the way back to like the formation of the Academy and all the drama of like how the awards came to become the force that they were, and how that's influenced the business, and how the businesses influenced the awards, and so on and so forth. And it is largely a journey through the various eras of Hollywood. And I'm literally in the middle of like the New Hollywood chapter right now. Like they're talking about Nashville and Barry Lyndon and Jaws and whatever else. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Like they're talking about all that stuff, and it's fascinating. Like the entire ride up to this point has been fascinating, but like all of that was born out of like the original studio system, which then fell subject to the Hays Code, which then fell prey to the House Committee on Un-American Activities and the blacklists and all that shit, and then the struggles of the dying out like old artists who are washed up has-beens, and the new kids coming up, and the fucking hippies, and like all this. There's so much, but the cultural context
I'm getting so erect right now. What?
The cum bowl's out there.
It's under the sink where we've always kept it.
like the cultural and political and economic forces that were Hollywood aren't that anymore.
Yeah.
It is
and therefore
like a new Hollywood could arise and should, arguably, but it's not going to be the same thing that like Kubrick and all them came up in. Like, it's not. It'll be a new beast. Honestly, it would be fascinating.
I think what I'm longing for are those mid-budget dramas, those more character-driven pieces. So in that sense, it would be similar, but you're right in the way that like the studio would not have their big meaty paws on it.
And that is, I think, the biggest change that needs to take place, right? Like, because right now we're so deep into the era of studio interference, of executives that are driven so much by line go up and I have an MBA. So much more so than I have an interest in facilitating a place where amazing stories can be told. Because we have people like David Zaslav who don't even seem like they actually like film,
right?
Like it's just
who was it that Perlmutter,
Ike Perlmutter,
yeah,
he
was a toy guy. I'm going to throw out this wild idea and then end the episode because I got to go to bed.
That's fair. It's getting late.
Do you think that this wave of nostalgia, legacy sequels, etc., is a symptom of late stage capitalism? Good night.
In a way, yes. I think it's more complicated than that, but I'm not going to get into that for the sake of time.
Okay.
Matt, what are your really quick thoughts on that?
I like. Man, I wish the audience could see your face now.
The way your face froze right there was amazing.
I'm just going to go say, sure.
Poignant. Poignant. Indeed.
Just going for pithy.
Anyway, we were working on our sequel to Knifebreaker,
which will be one of the films that's featured at the unofficial Willem Dafoe Bad Art Short Film Festival that will be taking place in 2024. If you are interested in that, please submit a film to DeRazzledPodcast@gmail.com with the Willem Dafoe somewhere in the subject line, and we will gladly view, consider, and possibly program your film.
You do not have to be a filmmaker prior to this. In fact, it might actually be better if you're not.
It might, honestly, this is a great way to just like dip your toe into it. Make a 10-minute short film, send it to us. Go to DeRazzled.com/festival for all the rules and regulations and information about the festival and whatnot there.
Listen, the stakes are so low. Unless you are a time traveler and go back in time to use the grand prize of this Chi-Chi's gift card.
I'm sorry, I need you to add something into the language that blocks Robert Zemeckis from doing that.
Robert. No, I mean, if he wants to submit, I'll take a look. It just has to be live action, not those creep ass computer people.
Fair.
What are you going to do if Robert Zemeckis shows up and gives you a Back to the Future reboot?
If he gives it to me in my hand, I will say, "How did you know where I lived?" Come on in. I have.
You just get an no, not that. You just get an email from rzemeckis@gmail.com.
No, he'd have a Hotmail address.
And it's just like a link to a private YouTube video, and you open it up, and it is Back to the Future with Finn Wolfhard as Marty McFly.
Honestly, I hope that one of our listeners does that exact thing. Emails us as Zemeckis.
That would be so funny.
Yes, and that gag.
Yes,
go
and that
full in.
Oh my god! Please lean into that bit.
All right, I need to go to fuck to bed.
All right. On that note, thank you everybody for joining us for this surprisingly jam-packed couple of episodes here. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review the show everywhere you possibly can. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, Good Pods, wherever you can possibly rate and review. It helps us out a ton. If you want to follow us on social media, we're on Facebook at DeRazzled Podcast, Instagram and TikTok at DeRazzled_podcast, and Twitter and Blue Sky at DeRazzled Pod.
I'm kind of disappointed. I think Matt only did like 2 puns, where Scott was just like a punning machine.
You're disappointed?
Well, I expected to cancel the series tonight. I was expecting to be like, this is the last episode of DeRazzled. I'll be back when we're doing the film festival piece. But you only did like 2.
Yeah, I thought it would be more fun to just info dump for 3 hours and see if Matt did it instead.
Bravo.
Respect.
You have no idea how much I didn't say. I could.
The puns are all internal.
Oh, well, Matt, thank you so much for joining us for this, for suggesting this. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Thank you for letting me monopolize all your time. I had so much fun.
Hell yeah. I'm thrilled. All right. Thank you everybody for listening. Check us out next time, where, as always, we will be sure to razzle dazzle you.
Razzle dazzle you.
I'm gonna cut that together so it sounds good. Good night, everybody.
No, the rest of it does. Why should that?
Oh, all right. There we go.
Oh, thank you so much. This was so much fun.
Hell yeah. I thought it was
this.
a great time. Jack is falling apart. I think I need to get the fuck out of his house.
I'm gonna kill a person. Are we still live?
Yep. Ending the stream